एष देवो विश्वकर्मा महात्मा सदा जनानां हृदये सन्निविष्टः स्वराज्य साम्राज्य विभूतिरेषा भवत्कृपा श्रीमहिमप्रसादात् प्राप्ता मया श्रीगुरवे महात्मने नमो नमस्तेस्तु पुनर्नमोस्तु नमो नमस्तेस्तु पुनर्नमोस्तु नमो नमस्तेस्तु पुनर्नमोस्तु नमस्तस्मै सदैकस्मै कस्मै चिन्महसे नमः यदेतद्विश्वरूपेण राजते गुरुराजते यदेतद्विश्वरूपेण राजते गुरुराजते। हरि ओम तत्सत्। Now, all the Upanishadic classes, they are a direct communication of truth. So, it needs a full ekagrata, one-pointed attention. Not only that, it is not a stressful one-pointed attention that is needed. It's a relaxed, open but one-pointed attention, as if you are not thinking of anything other than the sky or the space. It is, the mind should become like that. Then the truth will get directly embedded in our mind. The communication will be best possible in such a condition. I have repeatedly talked about, while teaching Kathopanishad or Mundaka Upanishad, that the Shanti Mantras are there for each Upanishad. There are 10 Upanishadic Shanti Mantras generally we chant. They are meant to make our mind, intelligence, emotion, the whole being of the speaker as well as the listener completely harmonious with the truth, so that the speaker can communicate the truth very well and the listeners can absorb, receive the truth also very well. For that we have to keep all our backlogs, all our distractions, desires away, at least for the time being. Because these are meant generally for people who have become almost desireless. They don't have any worldly desire. Then only they have the fitness to study Upanishad according to our Shastras. It is not really so. Anybody in the world, in any field, working in any field, busy also, are definitely a fit recipient, provided when they are trying to meditate, think, do the manana, that is, ponder over the truth, nothing should disturb their mind. There should be one-pointed attention. That is very important. Particularly, the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it is the biggest, is the longest. Actually, there is another Chandogya Upanishad which is also very voluminous. The two together is almost 2/3 of all the Upanishads, say about 108 or some more Upanishads are still preserved. People say that the scholars say that many of the Upanishads have been lost. But those which are preserved, they are enough for us. That may be a little over 108 or so, some more. I don't know actually. Of that, this Chandogya and Brihadaranyaka and Chandogya together is almost 2/3. So one is, it's very elaborate and voluminous. The second point is, it is not, most of the of this Upanishad is not in meter. It is prose. Most of the mantras are in prose. So it does not have that facility of remembering and chanting which people like, the easy way of studying. Say Kathopanishad and Mundakopanishad. If you simply go on chanting, you will think the mind becomes absolutely peaceful, sublime. It goes somewhere. Just by chanting, the effect will be had, provided we chant it properly. In fact, this has been clearly stated in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad in one place, where they have introduced the asato ma sadgamaya, that how the chanting is to be done. Now, being mostly prose, it does not have that facility of chanting in meter. That is one point for which people may not like to read it so much. But it may not have the meter, but it has its own sublime notes. What shall I call it? It is not meter, but it is a harmony with the truth. So if we just recite the mantras, they have a great effect on us, provided we do it with proper ucharana, very clear, pure ucharana, and also fully putting our mind in the meaning. That association of our mind is necessary, otherwise the chanting will not have its effect. So generally for chanting we do according to the bhava, the intonation is taken, that is what we follow everywhere. We don't follow the Vedic chanting, otherwise there is the traditional Vedic chanting also. But we generally follow the way we do, we call it bhavanuyayi. That means according to the bhava, according to the meaning, the whatever tune comes, we follow that. I have many things to say about Brihadaranyaka, but as we proceed, maybe other things also will come in. Some of the mantras are very popular. For example, the Shantipatha in Brihadaranyaka is Purnam Purnamidam, which perhaps most of those who know a little also, they have heard about it. It has been taken in some of the famous books in English language also. This mantra has been interpreted by different people in different manner. Some which we don't agree at all. There is the mantra which is again very popular, Asatoma Sadgamaya, which in all cases of prayer we do it. It is called Pavamana. Pavamana means which purifies. These mantras, they are not asking for wealth. They are not asking for any power or prestige or even health and beauty and all. Nothing. They are asking for only purity. So Asatoma Sadgamaya, this, although not in the chapter we are taking, I would like to do that section also a little bit, where it is introduced. Then Aham Brahmasmi also come here, one of the 4 Mahavakyas. Right in the beginning it comes, in a very beautiful manner. Then there are other stories which are commonly we have been hearing, but we don't know that it is in Brihadaranyaka. In fact, I also did not know when the class has to be taken, so I opened and I found that it is there. Many of the stories are there, which are very significant stories. So we picked up for this the Yajnavalkya, there is a Ya there. Yajnavalkya-Maitreyi Samvada. The conversation between Rishi Yajnavalkya and his wife Maitreyi, which I felt that will be easy for us to discuss and to grasp also. So every day we will start with the Shantipatha of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which is that Purnamadah Purnamidam. I think we have circulated those who had given their email ID. Otherwise, most of you know also. Following me, you can chant. Then we will have a little interpretation of this also. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam
Purnamadah Purnamidam
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam
Purnat Purnamudachyate
Purnat Purnamudachyate
Purnat Purnamudachyate
Purnat Purnamudachyate
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnameva Vashishyate
Purnameva Vashishyate
Purnameva Vashishyate
Purnameva Vashishyate
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
Once more. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam
Purnat Purnamudachyate
Purnat Purnamudachyate
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnasya Purnamadaya
Purnameva Vashishyate
Purnameva Vashishyate
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
This is the Shantipatha of Yajurveda. This Brihadaranyaka belongs to the Shukla Yajurveda. The direct translation will be the Great Forest Upanishad. This Great Forest Upanishad, in many sense it is like that. It is great in the sense that voluminous, huge. It is great in the sense that it has spoken the truth so openly, so directly in some cases, that people are surprised. Even Maitreyi in this Samvada, what we are going to study, Maitreyi herself tells her husband, Yajnavalkya, that, "Sir, you are confusing me." And Yajnavalkya replies that, "My beloved Maitreyi, I am not confusing you. I am only trying to clarify your mind. I am only trying to clarify the truth." So, all the people, those who had been asking during our 10 discourses over the last week about Atma, then why everywhere it is said that the Atma goes from here to there, etc. They have to have the patience to come to such statements where it is clearly said. It doesn't need our explanation. Explanation can be given. It is very simple. So where he has spoken like this. So there are other very open statements. It doesn't only speak about the final goal about the Atma and the Brahmatmaikatva Bodha. Brahmatmaikatva Bodha means Brahma, Atma, Ekatva Bodha. See, we start from the point, our point of ignorance is that I am limited by this body-mind personality. I am small. All others are different from me. And Brahman, if at all, it is the substratum of the whole universe. I am a small speck of it might be, but I am different and everybody is different. So we start from this Bheda Buddhi, this differential notion, an idea of smallness about us and separatedness, I call it fragmented idea about our identity. And all our troubles in life, individual as well as societal troubles, they arise from this fragmented small identity. Because we think we are different from everything else, we run after what we like, we run away from what we dislike, we are fearful of losing something, we are fearful of something, of facing something we dislike, fearful of losing something we like. Constantly we are surrounded by stresses of different kinds. It is only coming from a wrong identity, sense of identity, a smallness about our identity. So, when the purpose of all the Vedantic Shastras, particularly the Upanishads, is to take us to the ultimate goal of human life. What is that? It is called Brahmatmaikatva Bodha. That means Brahma, Atma, Ekatva Bodha. So first we try to find out that who am I? What is my real identity going within? And we become the Atma Sakshatkara, we say. Then we have to come to that knowledge that this Atma is not different from the Brahman, which is projecting, on which the whole universe is appearing. The whole universe, which contains my body, mind, personality also as a small speck. This whole entire universe is appearing in that Brahman, which is nothing different from our Atma. So Brahma is nothing different from Atma. Brahma, Atma, Ekatva Bodha. The other day, Swamiji told you about Shankaracharya's one verse where he is saying that in half a verse I will tell you what has been told in all the Shastras. Shlokardhena pravakshyami yaduktam grantha kotivihi. So half of the shlok is done. Here one line is completely gone. Shlokardhena pravakshyami. I will tell you in half a shloka yaduktam grantha kotivihi, which has been discussed in crores of granthas, all our spiritual literature. What is that? Brahma Satya. Satyam na Satya. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. This half a sentence, one line, the second line, it is the half of the verse. Shlokardhena. That this is the truth. What is that? Brahman alone is the truth and world is mithya. Now this mithya, immediately don't try to imagine something. We have to understand what is the meaning of mithya. We have to understand very well what is the meaning of mithya. I have discussed earlier also, but we will again discuss. And what is that? Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha, which we are thinking the small jiva in us, limited by the body-mind personality. It is nothing other than the Brahman. So the goal of human life is to realize that the Atma, which we refer to as I, without the I we cannot do anything. We cannot even sleep, we cannot even dream. Everywhere the I comes first. For any experience, the I is first there, then anything else. That I is nothing different from the substratum of the whole universe. On that I, the universe appears to be. So this is the real Abhaya Pada, the abode of fearlessness. Whatever fear we may have, it is not surpassing this ultimate truth, which I am. So that is how the Vedanta gives us the abode of fearlessness. Now this Brahma, the Atma, is same as the Brahman. This is the Pratipadya, this is the ultimate goal of the Upanishads. And this has been spoken in all the Upanishads. I was talking about Brihadaranyaka, that it speaks very openly, and in this Maitreyi, while speaking to Maitreyi, Yajnavalkya spoke about the truth of the Atma. That is what I was saying. At the same time, Brihadaranyaka contains lot of vagueness also. So much so that people are not able to get into the meaning. So Shankaracharya has worked very hard on it, and without his help perhaps we would have been lost in the great forest. Now I have got my point, which I was asking, what I started telling. I was explaining Brihadaranyaka, that it's a great forest Upanishad. Why great and why forest? Great because of its volume, because of its openness in discussing the truth. Not only openness, it speaks about everything, about brahmacharya, about garhastha, how to lead the brahmacharya life so that you will reach the auspicious goal, how to lead a garhasthya life so that you can reach the auspicious goal. Not only that, Brihadaranyaka discusses how to get good children, what kind of children you want, for that what is to be done. All these things are discussed in detail, because the purpose is to take the whole society to the extent possible to its auspicious goal. So unless we don't lead our brahmacharya life and garhasthya life in a proper manner, how can we come to the last sannyasa and the ultimate jivan mukti? So great in that sense also. It has not left any aspect of our life. Everything has been discussed so that we have a wholesome growth towards the final goal of human life. That is why also it is great. And it is a great aranya or forest, because in a forest, as you get lost, if you are not guided in the proper manner, you will get lost in that forest, because so many things are discussed, in many cases with lot of similes, a lot of symbols, which we will not be able to decipher at all easily. So we have to take the help of Shankaracharya Bhashya and other Bhashyas also to the extent possible. And finally, we have to take the help of our sadhana. What we always say is that there can be various interpretations, but what we take to is that provided an interpretation is allowed by the grammar, by the bhasha, by the language in which it is written, there may be 4, 5, 6, 7 or even more interpretations are allowed by the language. We will take to that which is confirmed by our own sadhana and which will be helpful to our sadhana. That is our principle. Generally, whatever interpretation we are taking to, it has to be confirmed by our sadhana and it should be helpful for the sadhaks. So, Sri Aurobindo has made a very witty remark there, that the vagueness of Brihadaranyaka has kept the foreign pandits, the foreign scholars away from it. In a way, it is a great blessings to our Upanishads. He has mentioned that. Because wherever they find any difficulty, they start concluding that it is a prakshipta. That means it has come from somewhere else, somebody has put it in, or it is collected from different people's opinion about it. There is no harmony in it, because they could not trace the harmony. So they lost the fundamental tune in it, which is tying up all the different statements and the chapters. So generally, many of our sadhaks, they always criticize the Western explanation of the Upanishads. because they have gone away from the truth. So Aurobindo has very openly spoken about it. So it is great, and Aranya also in that sense that it is a huge, undecipherable, it's a vague, because of its vague language of using symbolism and all. But definitely whatever we can collect from here, the pearls we can collect from here, is sufficient for our sadhana and sufficient for our reaching the auspicious goal. So we need not worry about it. Particularly 1200, 1300 years back, Shankaracharya arrived, and he is called Shivavatara. Shankaracharya arrived and he has really picked up all these Upanishads, and 11 Upanishads, 10 plus 1 is the Shvetashvatara. He has written commentary. Without those commentaries and his total collection, we would have been lost in the Upanishads. It would have been very difficult, particularly in this era when we don't know Sanskrit very well. Now there Sanskrit allows the flexibility of the language also. That each word, suppose there are 2-3 interpretations are there, if we want to find out which is truly representing the truth, what we have known from the sadhana, we can go into the etymology of the word, that is we call Vyutpatti, and each word can be traced from its root, and that will give us the real signal that what they are really trying to mean. So all these are there, plus, minus, everything is there. Only thing it means in essence is that these are not to be read only as a leisurely pastime. You have to put your mind, heart and everything in it to have a real touch of it. Of course, there are some simplified stories and all up from these Upanishads which definitely will be helpful for everybody. And some of them are written so well that I believe that if they are introduced into the schools, it will be great. It will be greatly beneficial for the students also. But if we want to proceed in the spiritual sadhana, then we have to dive deep in it. And for that, unless we have that one-pointedness and the austerity of, we call it knowledge austerity, jnana nishtha, jnana tapas, that has to be there to go into it and have a full grasp of this knowledge, at least an usable grasp of this knowledge. So Aranyaka also, in a sense, because it is, there are different parts of Vedas, so it belongs to the Aranyaka section. That way also it might have been called Aranyaka. Now, going to the Shantipatha, to understand its full depth as it is presented in Brihadaranyaka, we have to understand only one word. Then the whole Shantipatha will be understood. Which is the word? What is coming again and again in this mantra? Purnam. What is the meaning of Purnam? If we understand that, everything we will be able to understand. Purnam means full. We have seen translations in where it has been called full, it has been called complete, it has been translated as infinitude, infinite. All these are possible translations. Poorna directly, it means full. Now, whenever we say full, that means suppose you have a vessel. When you have the vessel full of water, we call the vessel to be full. Is it not? Because there is no further place for any more water to be put. That is called the fullness or full. Complete also, when you have completed filling the water, it is complete. That way also it is okay. But infinite is not that. When we are saying infinite, we are thinking in terms of the infinitude of, say, space, which we do not know the limit, we don't know the boundary at all. Now, different. There are two. Infinitude is different from the I. That is not the Poorna Vedanta speaks about. I am taking this easily because we have already discussed these points over the last week, and I think most of the listeners are the same. Many of them at least have listened to our previous online satsangs also. Now, there I had discussed that the ultimate truth is the non-dual knowledge. That means when the subject and object differential is not there, that I am looking at the universe, the object universe is different from me, the subject. Then we understand that actually the universe I am interacting with, the universe which appears in my consciousness. So universe is also appearing in my own consciousness. And which is that universe? The universe which contains my body, mind, personality as a small speck. So how can this consciousness or the Atma I am talking about is contained in the body, mind, personality? So the body, mind, personality which is part of the universe as a whole, the whole thing is appearing, is an appearance in the consciousness. That is what the Purnam is. That means when we don't have any second, that is called the Purna. In that case, you cannot think of any object, any concept, any idol, nothing. It just fills everything. We are told that Buddha called it Shunya. He also attained the same Samadhi, but he called Shunya. Whether it is true or not, we don't know. But that is what we are generally propagated. He called it Shunya because he was thinking that there is nothing. So in that state, the world has vanished. But vanished where? Actually, what was Shankaracharya's argument against the Buddhist of his era? He said, no, it is not Shunya. When you are saying that something is Shunya, who is saying? That means you are there. How can you say that it is Shunya, the truth is Shunya? Because you are there. If you are not there, then your statement has got no validity at all. So actually, because you are looking for something different from you, you are feeling that it is Shunya. Actually, it is not so. It is Purna. It is you alone in which the whole universe is appearing to be and also getting dissolved also. That is our Atma. That is the Brahman, and that is the Purna also. Purna refers to this Brahman where there is no Bheda Buddhi, there is no even subject-object duality, subject-object separation. That is called the Purna. So it is not, we can go on thinking that the sea is huge and when it is full of water, that is Purna. No, I am standing on the beach and looking at the sea. Even the space, infinite space, I am thinking of the space. So I is different from the space. The space, the concept of the space, concept of the infinite space is appearing in my consciousness. So the Purna is all inclusive. That is the concept of Purna. We will go into it further again, but I hope you have understood to some extent. With that kind of interpretation for Purna, we will be able to understand what this Shantipatha means. Actually, in the translation you will find in some cases they have written Purnam Adaha. Adaha means that. And Idam means this. That is, direct translation will be that is full or complete or infinite. Whatever we may say. We will use the word Purna. Now that I have explained what is the meaning of Purna, let us accept that word in English. Let us not try to again misguided by the word of completeness, infinitude and all that. Purna, I have explained that it is a non-dual Purna, which you do not have any example anywhere in the world at all. You will not find in the whole objective universe. Nothing can be Purna there. Because they are all objects. They are created. They will die. They will one day meet destruction. They are changing. There is a causality always, cause and effect flowing there. So the concept of Purna cannot be there in the objective universe at all. This Purna is the non-dual consciousness, Prajnanam Brahma. Our Rigveda says the Mahavakya. It is that Prajnanam we are talking about. That is the ultimate truth, that is the Purna. So with that explanation, we would like to use the word Purna as English also. So that is Purna, this is Purna. Purnamadaha Purnamidam. Then Purnat Purnam Udachyate. This Purna has come from that Purna. That means they are differentiating between Purna now. This Purna has come from that Purna. Purnat Purnam Udachyate. Udachyate means has come. Purnasya Purnamadaya. When you take Purna from the Purna, Purnasya Purnamadaya. When you take Purna from the Purna, Purnam eva avashishyate. What remains is Purna. Now, conveniently, some translation they have made, when you take away infinity from infinity, what remains is infinity. Well, mathematically it is true, but it doesn't mean anything here. How it is mathematically true? Suppose you have the infinite series of numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It can go up to infinity, so it is representing infinitude. Now, you take away from that series every even number, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, you take away. When you have taken away, this is a series of even numbers and the earlier one becomes a series of odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7. Understood? Then are not both infinite, because 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 you can go up to infinity, there is no limit to that. And 2, 4, 6, 8 also you can, 6, 8, 10 you can go up to infinity. So when you have taken one infinite series from another infinite series, the remaining is also, it is preserving its infinitude. Now, well, this is a mathematical expression which we can use, but this is not the Purna of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, I tell you. Not at all. It is mathematical infinitude. Here, the meaning is, when we are saying that is Purna, Purna means we are referring to the Brahman. We are referring to the Brahman, the ultimate Brahman. We generally refer to as Karana Brahma and Karya Brahma. There also there is a little trouble, but let us accept that. That is our Shastric way. Karana Brahma, that means the original Brahman, there where there is no creation at all. That Karana Brahma is Purna, means you cannot fragment it anyway at all. Now you understand, if you think deeply, when we are analyzing it, we are thinking Brahman as an object. It's an object concept of something which we are discussing with. Is it not? Brahman is a concept for us. So it is an object before our consciousness, before our eye. Finally, that concept has to get completely dissolved in the eye. Then only the real Brahman will arrive. That is why it is not attainable by mind and buddhi. Why? Because of this. That whatever you think about God or Brahman or truth with your mind and buddhi, it becomes a concept in your mind. So, you have to overcome that concept. It is an object-subject division again. When that concept gets dissolved, it gets more and more maturated and finally dissolved in the I in us, in the subject. Then we cross over, we outlive, we transcend the subject-object duality and become the Purna. So all these things we have to remember while discussing the truth. Now that Brahman means the Brahman without the projection of the world is Purna. That means you cannot find any lack, any limitation, any objectivity there. I am repeatedly saying that any object in the objectude, in the whole objective universe, everything is limited and undergoing cause and effect chain. That means birth, growth and destruction, death. Everything is under death. You will not find immortality anywhere in the objective universe. It is not possible. The whole universe is born and it is going to get destroyed. It is always under motion. It is always changing. Every moment it is changing. So there cannot be any apurnata, or there cannot be any abhava. There cannot be any lack at all in that Brahman. That Brahman is complete. Complete means it is a non-dual completeness. That we should remember. Purnamidam means this Karya Brahma, we say, that is the appearance of the universe in the Brahman. This is also Purna. There is no lack, there is nothing anywhere. It's all inside, it is fragmented. But in telling it Purna, we have to know Vedanta. Apparently it is fragmented. That is why the mantra is saying that this Brahman is also Purna. Which Brahman? The manifest Brahman, which is appearing before us as the world. We are not thinking world to be Purna. We are always thinking it is fragmented. This I like, that I don't like. This will live for 100 years. This will live for 1000 years. Everything is here. Nothing is Purna here. But the mantra is saying, no, this is also Purna. That whatever world, the variegated world we are seeing, that is also Purna. How can I say that? Next statement coming. Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevabashishyate. Purnasya Purnamadaya. When you take from the Purna, you take the Purnatva from the Purna. It is not taking away the Purna from the Purna like the infinite series I said. Take away the even numbers from the whole series. It is not taking away. In many translations it is taking away is there. That is, in a way it means, but not in the full sense. So we have to take the Purnatva from the non-Purna things. What happens in this spiritual knowledge? You first realize your Atma, and then you find that the whole world is nothing but an appearance in that Atma itself. How does it happen? That means you understand that suppose in the air I write elephant and I write microphone. Now, is there anything different from the air there? Both are made of air only. So we have to understand that whatever is written in our mind, the whole universe with so much of unimaginable kind of activity and all, but they are all written in the consciousness alone. There is nothing other than this consciousness. That is the Purnatva. So when we understand that Sarva Bhuteshu Atmanam, what is that? Bhavana, not that. In 6th chapter. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati. No, another is Sarva Bhutastham Atmanam Sarva Bhutani cha Atmani. It is like that. There is nothing other than Atma. So that is the taking, the grasping the Purnatva of the Apurna things. Apurna means non-Purna things. That is, in front of us, everything is fragmented, everything has got its own appearance, but they are all appearance in the same Atma. This is the taking the Purnatva from that. Then what happens? Whatever remains, everything becomes Purna only. Once we understand the Purnatva of the non-Purna appearance of the world, then the whole world becomes nectarine. The whole world becomes Purna. That is the non-dual Purna. Purnam eva avashishyate. Whatever remains is only Purna. That is why for a person who has realized the truth, there is nothing other than the truth. That is why when he interacts with the world with variegated manifestation, he interacts with the criminal, with the police, with the saint, with everybody, with his own people, with others. But in his truth level, he is interacting only with the Atma. He is established in that Atma. He is not interacting with anything else. As often we tell you about the Yoga Vasishta shloka. Purne manasi sampurnam Jagat sarvam sudhadravaihi upanad gudhapadasya nanu charmastritaiva bhuhu purne manasi sampurnam. Jagat sarvam sudhadravaihi upanad gudhapadasya nanu charmastritaiva bhuhu. He said, Purne manasi sampurnam jagat sarvam sudhadravaihi. Manasi purne sati sampurnam jagat sudhadravaihi. Jagat sudhadravaihi sampurnam bhavati. When the mind becomes full. Now again, this mind becomes full means what? When the mind rests on this fullness of the truth, of its essence. The mind is nothing but the Atma. It is a manifestation in that. When the mind becomes full, then the whole world becomes full with the nectar. Sudhadravaihi sampurnam bhavati. The whole world becomes full with nectar. Why nectar? Because there is nothing other than the Atma which we like most, that we will have in this Maitreyi Sambhada also. That it is repeatedly saying that Ananda, the Atma is the source of Ananda. Everything is resting on that. So one who realizes the Atma, he becomes prasadam adhigacchati. He attains the Ananda. So the whole world becomes Purna for him. How? He says that as for walking on the earth, your feet get dirty. So what do? Are you going to cover the whole earth with leather? You simply put your feet inside to chappals, to shoes, into leather, and walk wherever you go. For you, the whole world becomes covered with leather. You don't have to cover the world with leather. For you, the whole world gets covered with leather. So to attain this Purna, you don't have to worry about the world, that there is so much of COVID in the world, there is so many criminals in the world, so much of malpractices going on in the world. How can we attain this? The world is bad. You don't have to think about that at all. When your mind attains that Purnatva, the whole world with all its criminality, all its bad, good, ugliness, beauty, everything will float in that Purnatva. You will also revel in that Purnatva. Atmarati, Brahmananda. So, that is the Purna. So when we understand, when we grasp the Purnatva of the fragmented appearance, then everything becomes Purnam. Purnameva avashishyate. Now, there is another beauty here. In this, I had explained earlier also, in the whole objective universe, everything follows causality. That is, something, if we look for, how did it come? It has come from here. If you look for an ornament, there was gold from which it has been made. Where from did the gold come? It was in the earth. They had extracted and they are purified. Always there is some causality related to that. You will not find anything in the universe which is where causality is not there. But this whole universe, when we go to the absolute cause of the universe, there is no cause really. There is no cause. It cannot be, because then we will again ask, what is the cause of that? It will proceed without any. This causal logic is occurring in our mind because we are finding in the objective universe everything is related by cause and effect chain. This has given to our mind the idea that everything should have a cause, and that is why we are asking the cause of the universe. Actually, there is no cause. As in dream, the whole new world suddenly appears. The whole universe also appears in the consciousness. Whole universe in which my body-mind personality is also a time-limited, space-limited small speck. The whole universe appears in that consciousness. There is no cause there at all. This is beautifully expressed in the 6th verse of Mundaka Upanishad. I have explained so many times. I will say only the last line where it says, Tad avyayam yat bhuta yonim paripashyanti dhiraha. About the truth, he is saying, dhiraha paripashyanti. The wise people see everywhere. The wise people see everywhere. Paripashyanti means paritaha pashyanti, everywhere. What do they see? Wise people, what do they see? Dhiraha paripashyanti. Tad avyayam yat bhuta yonim. Bhuta means whatever is the being, whatever has been created, the whole universe, everything. The entire objectude. Bhuta yonim means the womb of the whole universe. Womb of the whole objectude. Tad avyayam yad bhuta yonim. Avyaya means unchanging. Now here he is talking about the womb of the universe which is unchanging. That means when the universe appears in the Brahman or in the Atma, there is no change in the Brahman or Atma. This is only possible for this Atma or Brahman or the consciousness. It is not possible for any other source or substratum in the universe, in the objective universe. There will be change. When the sun is radiating, its hydrogen is getting depleted, helium is increasing, and radiation is coming out. Without change, nothing can be produced in this universe, in the objective universe. So, but this, when you go to that absolute level, the whole universe is only an appearance. This is the meaning of the mithya. Not that the grossness and the subtlety of these are not there. What we are seeing, it is all there. But this grossness as well as subtlety, everything is written on consciousness. That we have to understand. That doesn't mean that I will not work. If everything is consciousness, why should I do this? Why should I do that? You need not do that. Not doing is also written in the consciousness. Whether you will do or not do, this decision also is written in the consciousness. So if by doing you are happy, why don't you do it? If by not doing you are happy, you need not do also. Tad avyayam yad bhuta yonim paripashyanti dhiraha. This is the last sentence of the 6th mantra of Mundaka Upanishad. That this avyaya yoni, that it is not a material cause. That is why it is called vivarta srishti. The material cause, when there is a material cause, as it is everywhere in the objectude, it is called parinama srishti. Parinama means the cause is getting changed by becoming the effect. When you are burning the book is dying and the ash is getting burned. Actually, birth and death always we relate to our body. It is not so. Every moment the cause is dying and the effect is getting born. It is the death of the cause and effect. In our body, how many cells, the millions of cells are getting dying and getting born every moment. How many cells are coming and going? Is the body same? Body is not same. We feel that I am born and I am okay. But actually inside constantly the cause and effect change is going on. The cause is dying and the effect is getting born. This is the real birth and death is this. And entire objectude is under this birth and death. Only birth and death or change is not possible to think about in the subject Atma or the non-dual Atma or the Brahman. Because the moment you say that no, there is a change, you think in your mind that there is a change. To think about a motion or a change, you are thinking of an object. Even if in space there is a change, the space is a concept before your eye. That eye is looking at that concept. That concept is undergoing the change, not the eye. So, that I being the subject revealer of the entire world, as well the external world as well as the internal world, that I, we cannot even conceive of a change in the I, because the moment we think of a change in the I, it becomes an object. We are objectivizing the subject. It is wrong. So we can think of this Purnatva or immortality. Immortality means deathlessness. There cannot be any immortality in the world. Immortality is only for the Atma, which is the revealer of the entire universe, which is the projector of the universe. So whether it is immortality, whether it is causelessness, whether it is Purnatva, all these are possible only for the Atma. nothing else. That is the non-dual consciousness, non-dual knowledge, on which the whole universe, which contains my body, mind, personality also, which is a product of nature, which the whole universe is appearing on that I, the consciousness. That I cannot be separated as an object to know that. It can only be known as the amnessness. So this is what the meaning of Purnam. So when I was telling that I have already explained the meaning of when the Purnatva is understood, is grasped from the material world, that where is the Purnatva lying there, then the whole world becomes Purna. We don't get anything Apurna, non-Purna at all. Now the other way of thinking is that when Brahman is producing the world, by production, by appearance of the universe, appearance of the world, there is nothing, no change in the Brahman, in the Atma. That is, there is no kami, there is no lack. Is in all our material creation, if you have so much of mud, if you take this much and make a vessel out of it, the mud will be less. But in this case, the consciousness, Brahman, Atma, it does not undergo any reduction or enhancement. It is not possible. Reduction, enhancement are all our concept about the objective world. So it is only possible for that even when the Purna world, that the infinite world, which is the Karya Brahma, is created, is projected, is seen, then also this Brahman, which is the Karana Brahma we call it, or the Supreme Brahman, that does not undergo any change at all. So Purnam eva avashishyate. This is happening, suppose in your mind also, because it is a direct link to the conscious. Mind is a function of our consciousness. Suppose from childhood, from birth onward, how many concepts, things you have gone into the mind, everything, but has the consciousness undergone any change in us? Constantly thoughts are coming, concepts are coming, dukkha is coming, sukha is coming, intolerable torture and all those things are happening, but still that I remains nothing. There is no change at all. How does it happen? Is it possible anywhere in the world? Everywhere, anything means it, there will be a change in it. But in that I, there is no change at all. When you sleep, the dream comes. Oh, so huge new universe with your new body, mind, personality, whatever you want to see yourself in whatever form, it appears there as I. And the whole production is taking place in the consciousness only. And it is not that you first thought about it and then it was produced. Suppose in the dream your mother appears. Is it that you first thought about the mother and then the dream appeared? Or you dreamt of the mother and then the thought appeared? Neither way. It's an instantaneous creation. Because it is not a causal srishti. Time comes in a causal srishti, where the cause is preceding in time and the effect is following in time. There time comes. If we have the material, with that we can make the ornament or the vessel. So the material has to be there first. It is not a parinama srishti. It is not made with the material. It just appears. The thought and the appearance, they are together. You can construct anything in dream you like. You will not be able to, because the dream will not follow your order. There is no time there that you have thought about a palace and then the dream came. The dream just appears and the palace may not look like what you wanted. It might be something which you have never conceived of. I have seen in my dream some space vehicles. I was surprised. Still I remember, I can draw also that, oh, it's amazing vehicles I see, often see. That we can call it Krishna's Ratha and all, but it is not like that. It is huge, our modern space vehicles. Maybe one day somebody will create also all those things. It just simply appears and it goes also, gets dissolved. No material is necessary and no material is created out of its dissolution also. Like that the whole world gets dissolved in the Brahman and nothing is there, the Brahman alone. and the whole world appears in Brahman, then also nothing is changed in the Brahman. Suppose the Atma or the Brahman would have changed by appearance of anything, then there was no question of self-realization. How can you realize that self then? That self is undergoing change every time. Then the pristine self we would never have been able to know. There would not have been any self to know like that, which is immortal, which does not undergo any change at all. So the last portion, that Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. When the Purna is projected from the Purna, by that the earlier Purna is not changing at all. Both remain Purna, everything is Purna. So here there are 3 points: Purnamada Purnamidam. That Brahman is Purna. This Brahman which is apparently fragmented is also Purna. This is a statement of the Shastra now. Now the Shastric statement has to become your realization. Then what happens? Purnasya Purnamadaya. That means you realize the Purnatva of the non-Purna objects also. That it is nothing but Brahman. The whole world is nothing but Brahman. Jivo Brahmaivana Paraha. When you understand that, then Purnameva Vashishyate. Then the whole world also, it only appears as Purna alone. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. This 3 Shantis I have explained so many times. They refer to Adi Daivika Shanti, Adi Bhautika Shanti, and Adhyatmika Shanti. That means we have tapa, that means we are suffering also 3 kinds. Adi Daivika Tapa, Adi Bhautika Tapa, and Adhyatmika Tapa. The absence of a tapa is Shanti. When will the peace come? When the tapa, the agitation, the stress, strain in the mind, they go, then the peace dawns. So the reason for the tapa, the suffering in the mind, inside, actually in spirituality we only talk about inside. That Adi Bhautika Tapa is outside. Outside means there is some calamity. Suppose natural calamity. That is Adi Daivika. That we don't know the reason for it. There is a reason, but we cannot assign any reason. So those are considered to be Adi Daivika. Adi Bhautika means which is coming from living beings. Maybe elephant, tiger attack, or yuddha, war, or say terrorists. Now these are all Adi Bhautika. But I often say that Adi Bhautika and Adi Daivika, they are overlapping almost. Because suppose we have made such a huge dam, that earthquake is there, Koina, that huge earthquake had come. Normally earthquake, we will call it as Adi Daivika. But we find that it has been caused by human effort. So it becomes Adi Bhautika there. Now COVID, I don't know which it belongs to. It could be Adi Daivika as well as Adi Bhautika also. We have to find out its cause. We don't know where from it has come. Is it deliberately created? Then it is absolutely Adi Bhautika. And the last one is Adhyatmika. So Adhyatmika is for which you cannot blame anybody else, which is created by your own being, for which you are responsible. What is that? We have 3 main faculties. That physical, that is the Deha, the Sharira, then the mind, then the intelligence. These are the 3 faculties. Now these Shanti, 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 they are always in our prayer. But why they have been added to our Shantipatha before the Upanishadic class? There is a meaning in that. As I said right in the beginning, that grasping this abstract truth, not abstract, but this subtle truth, it needs a tremendous amount of attunement of our mind and attunement between the speaker and the listener also. So to have that, all the parts of our being should be in peace. Suppose there had been now war, then we would not have been able to take the class. Suppose there is a terrorist attack, we will not be able to take the class. Similarly, suppose there is a physical, some disease, or we are very much suffering. In that case also, the attention is not possible. Now, similarly, if the mind is too much given to greed, desire, ambition and all that, then the mind will be so restless always that it will never be peaceful. Under such a condition of the mind, the truth will not dawn. It is as I have explained already that day from Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna is saying that, Krishna, you have explained the samatva so well, but I am not able to find a stable absorption of it because my mind is restless. So as long as the mind is restless, and why the mind is restless? It is kama esha, krodha esha. It is because of some desire, some fear, some ambition, greed, etc. So the mind should be reasonably freed of all these things. The body also should be reasonably peaceful. Suppose you overeat, you have taken too much, or you have taken very spicy food, then you will find that you will not be able to concentrate. So the food has to be, even just after taking food also, the classes are not to be taken, because the mind will not be able to focus your mind at that time. So the body has to be kept in a proper, very balanced and harmonious condition. The mind has to be more or less desire-free to absorb the truth. And the intelligence, what is the trouble with the intelligence? It's ego, it's lack of humility. If we constantly go on questioning what is being told and all, not in the manner of trying to understand, but in the manner of defying, then that egoistic intelligence will not be able to grasp the truth. Or suppose the intelligence has read so much that we always try to compare here, there and all, then also the intelligence will not be able to grasp the truth. So the intelligence has to be in a very peaceful state, in a very humble state. The mind has to be a desire-free, peaceful, non-restlessness point. And the body also has to be in a very good, harmonious condition to absorb this knowledge. Okay, we have already crossed the time. I will just chant a verse and we are supposed to chant the Shanti Mantra then. No? So following me, you chant. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam.
Purnat Purnamudachyate.
Purnat Purnamudachyate.
Purnasya Purnamadaya.
Purnasya Purnamadaya.
Purnamevavashishyate.
Purnamevavashishyate.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Shuddham Vishuddham Abhicharam Anantarupam. Nirlepalepam Abhicharam Anantarupam. Nishkhanda Khandam Abhicharam Anantarupam. Jnanamritam Samarasam Gaganopamoham. Shuddham Vishuddham Abhicharam Anantarupam. Nirlepalepam Abhicharam Anantarupam. Nishkhanda Khandam Abhicharam Anantarupam. Jnanamritam Samarasam Gaganopamoham. Hari Om Tat Sat.